All right.
Alright, guys! We're back on!
Alright, people, we're recording again. So let's take our seats and gaan we verder.
Ja, ik ook.
Wie gezellig?
Niks meer hoor.
Ja, mooi.
Jij ja?
Yes.
Okay.
Although I accepted it as a lister in the polls, you make your own belief. You make that's your side, and you stay warm.
Nobody in the crowd apparently you're going to use it for the end.
Let's meet separately.
I was expecting this to be slices. We're going to take crumbs instead.
I'm really looking forward to see you.
Do not worry.
Maar dat is inderdaad wel een type wat kunnen zijn voor het feit tussen individuals. En ik het ook een beetje dat de nog steeds wat er met answeren met de
Hi, say, we also need as well. Okay, let's be improvisational. There you go, guys. So. No.
I think I need glasses. This sucks.
All right.
The 2 last weeks I noticed that
So, the last thing mentioned was something about Puffest again. But let's move on from there to somewhere else.
I wanted to say something before we went to break about working with different disciplines. I'm gonna swallow it first. So from my experience, the way I tend to work with other people is always, and I work a lot with music and performance, is always let the people that I work with play music. So with music it's really easy. You have an instrument and you have a dancer and he moves with your instrument and straight away it makes sound. So you can't really teach someone to live code during a rehearsal or something, but you can tell someone play on the piano now for half an hour and just flow with it. And I dance with the people that I work with, or I act with the people that I work with. There's always warm-ups that musicians tend not to do with their body. You warm up with your instrument, but not with the people that you're working with. And this dynamic, I think, is important to mention, that when we work in different disciplines, then we can learn from each one of them and become part of what they do and have rather have all the knowledge in a vertical kind of knowledge line, and your knowledge in a deep knowing. I didn't choose my words.
No.
You learn a little bit from everyone because you do what they do. So you get kind of a broad knowledge about what the project is going to be about and all the disciplines that are in, and you have your knowledge that goes deeper. And everybody has his knowledge that goes deeper, and everybody knows also the main disciplines that are used, and everybody has touched it in a way, so you get a different kind of dialogue.
So you suggest people from different disciplines, when they first get together, they try to be in each other's shoes?
Exactly. Not necessarily in each other's shoes, but do sessions
experiment
with each,
Actually, that's a good idea. And
So-
the reason I'm a game coder.
Like I always dance. When I work with dancers, I always do rehearsals with them and I dance with them to understand how their body moves, so that when I go to my instrument,
That's
I
a
have
good one.
some
Yeah.
more
That's a really
knowledge.
The thing I experienced with working with Radio Kozak, you've been there as well, Pete. I think we talked about this before. I think we talked about this before, but I don't remember. But they expect me to dance with them when we go into classic, but they are really not interested at all in what I do on my computer. And this is a really big problem for me. And I try to.
I heard a
the
big
thing
style.
The thing with the same thing Kai said, with the coffee brewers being, some coffee brewers being not interested at all in what he was doing.
It's got to be a giving and taking process.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's still going to be a very one-sided thing where if the dancers know your part and they know theirs, they're mostly going to be driving the creative process. Whereas if they get involved with the actual sound, then they can think about it on that level.
Yeah,
Now they can.
Well, don't you think it's because what you do on the computer is way too complicated for them? Well,
Yeah, but that's also a thing.
They think it's too complicated.
So
And
how do you
they
make
think,
it
they think
simple?
dancing is straightforward. Well, at least that's what they experience.
Yeah, it's again because it's physical and
Yeah. And they think, well, you can interact with.
Yeah, but getting really like, I mean, there's a certain level in which, everybody has a body, so everybody can dance, but
Again, Artem gave a plus
Not everybody has a
one to
computer.
dancing into the dancer.
Yeah, but,
Everyone can think, though.
no, but I think like when we really get into
Nah, it's
contemporary dance, I mean, I could never expect to be able to do such things.
no,
But it's
No,
not about being
it's not
a
being-
student.
it's not being a dancer.
No, but
This is the thing.
what I'm aiming at is that the skills you need to perform that are similar to the skills you need to be a
of course,
programmer.
but it's about showing an interest in the person you're working with,
Yeah.
basically. And Yannick goes a bit far by saying, okay, I'll let them play the piano and I'll dance with them.
I mean,
Of course,
I
would
always
think
let them.
I would think that's necessarily a crazy way. I mean, it's not. It wouldn't work with everyone. Not everyone is that courageous to do mistakes when they don't know
Yeah.
stuff. So it's a certain comfort zone that not everyone will be able to go beyond. Okay, I get it. But I like the way of thinking, and it doesn't necessarily mean that just because they didn't wanna. I don't know what you would like them to do with your computer, but say just because they didn't show the kind of interest that you expected them to show doesn't mean that they're not interested. Maybe there has to be another way of allowing them.
I think they really weren't interested by his face.
I was wondering the same with the coffee brew. Like for instance, if you sat down before, you maybe showed software or anything like we're doing this. Or
Yeah, do you know how to brew coffee now?
I think by
he did show them. He did. I was there when he was like, do this, you know.
Well,
okay.
Well, for that whole project, we were placed together after there was this process in which teams were formed and we were put together in a team. And from the start, it was really like, okay, we took the steps to make contact. We went to their place. We asked them, okay, so how does this work? Can you show us some stuff? And the whole project was just really one-sided. And,
Yeah.
and even if you ask like, hey, can I brew something? It's like, yeah, well, customers here, blah blah blah, difficult. And it was really hard to get that kind of
It's not
connection.
very artistic practice. It's just brewing coffee, so it doesn't really translate.
Yeah, but still, I'd say if you take the step of joining this kind of project.
True, yeah. Maybe they just thought like, oh, can't do it. What the hell?
Have you tried, because you said they didn't show interest, so I can imagine you didn't try, but have you tried making, I can imagine they're not going to sit behind a computer and do what you're going to do, but have you tried making it metaphorically, for example, accessible, in a way, through examples of how you work, so that...
Yeah, I used to do this a lot when I worked with other students. For example, when I did a project in Macedonia where they didn't know anything about electronics, they were just really good at playing their instrument. We talked a lot before actually we sat down and we were just trying things out. So the girl that I worked with, she just played the flute and I started with really simple effects, just like a delay line and explaining what a delay line is and how it works in a really physical sense, and that it records your sound and that already was in the beginning. On the first day there was a lot for her to take in, but as you get further you can really they can really build knowledge of what I can actually do with the computer. They come up with their own suggestions, but what if you reverse that effect? What if you make that do this parameter differently, stuff like that. So it's definitely possible. In the Kodak project, for example, I mapped everything onto a really simple MIDI controller and gave them a MIDI controller and said, like, turn this knob, and what do you think of that? And how would that, the communication is difficult. Just not, but they expect from me to dance with them. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love their project and I love...
Love dancing. Don't get me wrong, I love dancing.
No, it's okay for me to dance with them, but I have to show the same amount of interest in what I do.
Yeah, definitely.
But this is again because they are also always working on an ad hoc basis, and for us we need a bit more time. Most of the time they get annoyed by that fact.
Isn't it also because of the frame of reference? I mean, dances usually work as a group and rehearse as a group and doing what they're doing, and the music just comes in and that's it, or
or
they work with that, or they have maybe live music, but it is there instead of having a process of making music inside of that process. They are not used to that. You are probably more used to having those interdisciplinary things.
Within your process.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think that's where the problem is.
Well, in my experience, dancers also very quickly adapt. They very quickly adapt to new circumstances. I was working with one piece where we made this kind of, it was more a reactive scenery. Scenery. So they're basically like objects on the stage. And I mean, they had like pretty good. The choreography was already like quite well developed. But the moment we decided, okay, we're gonna put like these beams that we have, the lights, this place on the stage, and we put this opera glass where we project upon across the stage there. And then, I mean, they very quickly went like, okay, then we're gonna put these movements here, we're gonna move through the space like this. So they very quickly like adapted what they were doing to the different scenery.
They very quickly adapted, but you did something in which they were not actively involved, it seems. So you made a choice, an artistic choice, to do something, a technological artistic choice, but they were not really involved in that choice. Or were they?
Yeah, they were reacting to the result.
Yeah,
not to
that's what I'm
making
yeah.
Because I think.
Well, I guess it was like, I mean, maybe he had seen the rehearsing and basically we were looking for that possibilities that we had. So I think maybe not in the direct discussion, apart from maybe the director of the or the choreographer, who certainly was involved in the decision.
That's interesting. I've never worked that way. So a director who oversees everything.
Yeah. I mean, there was one choreographer who really sort of was guiding the dancers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a video artist that project. I was working on the like, sort of the interactive line, so it was also a light designer who came in a few later in the process. And there was also a composer who actually worked quite separately.
Was there like a hierarchy in there? Like,
Yeah, the
these
director
make-
was at the top of the.
or was it more like a democracy?
Well, I mean, that project, I mean, we were also very dislocated. Like the dancers were in India.
Oh, that's interesting.
We were based in Bangalore. We were based in Montreal. Video person was based in Germany.
Wow.
I think that light
Communicating
design
over
was
webcams, especially with the dancers,
Yeah.
showing moves.
No, basically what happened, like the choreographer from India, he visited Montreal a couple of times. We talked a lot about the project. And then at some point we went, we basically went to Bangalore and worked for 2 weeks in their rehearsal space with also the video artists there. So then we worked that out.
But especially like with this dislocation, isn't the hierarchy even more important?
Yeah, I mean there was definitely a hierarchy with Jai, the choreographer. He was like, certainly towards his dancers, he was like, I mean, he was working with them, but clearly giving like the guidance. And Chris was working more on a conceptual level. But yeah, I mean, on the media side, there was we were just discussing what we would do with our own media, and then also how those would interact with each other. With the composer, I mean, we had no interaction at all. He had a lot of. He talked a lot with the dancers as well, so there was a lot of discussion between them. But at the end, the sound score was just a recorded track of 15 minutes.
Very interactive.
No, I mean that in the end, like the sonography we made was reactive rather than interactive.
You're cynical.
Sounds like.
But that's,
Yeah, I guess it was a mix of democracy and.
That's always
You were gonna say something.
That's exactly
Right.
this works because there are different beats making these decisions, and then you work together with the big group, but that's on location. Disconnected.
Did it work?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, we got a good piece. I mean, it wasn't as interactive as I would like to be. I think there was the choreographer wasn't so much into improvisation. I mean, what they're doing, I mean, it is quite interesting what they're doing. So these dancers are trained in all ancient Indian dance techniques. It's a very codified system. And he brings in sort of modern dance influences, where they create like new forms, like referring to these old forms. So in that sense, it's already quite groundbreaking in India to do something that's not according to the masters, not according to how it was written down thousands of years ago.
But as the piece itself, so if you disregard the influence that it has, consider like the added benefit effects, did the piece itself benefit from it?
I think so, yeah.
And was the way of working pleasant? Like, do you have a good feeling about the collaboration, and did the different factors actually enhance the piece? We can, if you had like prior knowledge of the way this went, would you choose the same direction, the same kind of collaboration, or would you prefer like a more democratic way, or a more like one leader telling everybody what to do, or?
Yeah, it's really hard to say. I mean,
Yeah,
this
I know.
kind of project.
Depends also about the amount of time you have for such a project. If you have 2 weeks to deliver, it's
Well, I mean, okay,
yeah, it's
so-
easy to have somebody to tell you what to do, and then yeah, most
It's
of the
always
time there's-
easier when you have somebody
Yeah.
to tell you what to do.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
We all agree on that.
Well, if you have the time to experiment, then yeah, why not?
And then we had the 2 weeks that we were there, then we had about 1 month off, or well, I was in Montreal, and then we went back for another 3 weeks before the actual show. So there was a bit of time after these 2 weeks to like develop the touring further, and then get back together with actually everyone there.
And how did it change in that period that you were disconnected?
Well, I wrote the motion software.
But that was like, I think I just like that. But how did we end up doing that?
Well, there was some motion tracking of the dance,
Ah, yeah, right.
the reactive part of the project.
Did it change, or was it just rehearsal in those periods?
Well, I think it did change. Like, I think in the last weeks we sort of really finalized the ideas. So the first 2 weeks were more trying things out, and sort of looking in which directions we will go. And then like the last few weeks before the opening was really sort of getting everything in place and making the final decisions.
Because that's a whole other story, because if you work with different disciplines, you know your own way of work, like you go to another country, you know? I look at it from a cultural perspective.
Yeah, that's already.
And
Definitely.
that's even
But it's
two,
there were
twice, third times harder than working in your own.
And more
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, it's more interesting. But what you were saying about the people you work with in Macedonia, that must be. I can imagine it would be very hard to just get your message to them.
Well, it was really interesting because actually I went it twice.
Yeah.
And the first time was in 2008, 9, and the second time was in 2012. 11.
For the same project?
For
Like
the same
continuation of it?
Yeah, it was continuation of the same project. So the girl who I met and worked with in the first time, which was a bit frustrating because, like you say, she didn't really. I was there only for 2 weeks, both times, and the first time she didn't really get. Well, she learned a lot, but there were some frustrating moments where I wanted to get something across and I wanted to just finish this piece, and I didn't really get why she didn't get it, and I was also very young then. And then
1 year ago.
after 2 years, I came back and I met her again.
And then you were old.
Old and experienced.
No, but she said that she learned so much from that project alone, and she got an understanding about electronic music a bit, and I was able to work with her on that. I mean, for the first time I went there, she didn't know anything about improvising even, so the way I came in and I was like, okay, let's do some electronic solo. That didn't work, you know, so on the second or third day, we went to, I drew like bars of music and she would play them on the flute, and then I said to her, we did these really simple exercises, like, okay, now take out the note, and now change this note with another note, and working up from that level to, that she could really improvise a bit. So that was the first step, and from there on, I showed her my way of working and my toolbox, so to speak, of what I could do.
And all of that in 2 weeks.
All of that in 2 weeks, yeah. But she didn't really get all of it, of course, in the end. But it was enough for her to carry on and work with other people who worked in electronics in that area. And when I came back, she had such a larger understanding of electronic music than I had left her with.
Okay.
And that was amazing.
Yeah, so the first time was kind of throwing her into the water, and the next time you came, she was swimming.
Yeah.
Kind of, really.
You fit together, really.
And this was really.
And there was 1 year between both
2
times.
years.
2 years between both
Yeah.
times.
And this was I think the best educative experience I've had when I just worked one-on-one and someone really got it.
Yeah. Especially if they come from a place where it's totally new to them.
Yeah.
So I had, because I always tell people from other disciplines to play music, and they're always, it's like they never knew that if they hit a string it makes sound. Like there's always this kind of thing that everything they do, especially with electronics and effects and stuff like that, it's like magic. And they love it. So I have an experience that they always feel like suddenly they're doing magic because you have a computer there that does a simple delay night, which is as simple as it gets, but it's magic.
And this is why you really need to demystify that thing where we go with someone.
So if we were to put together a multidisciplinary manifesto, would it say,
Digit. I like that.
Teach each other at least 20% of what the utmost basis, so that you can at least converse on that level. And you already have so much understanding that.
The other person needs to be open-minded.
Of
course. But that's a given. If you're not really open-minded, you probably won't really go experimenting with other disciplines that much.
No, that's the problem. I have the same thing. Just like he said about dances, it's not that common.
It's not a guarantee that you're gonna be.
I guess you also know this kind of beforehand. You know if you're going to improvise with them. You know if they're going to be involved in your process. If it's a 50-50.
Okay, then be open and then be also sort of sharing your 20% of knowledge.
Yeah, well, I'm not. Maybe I'm not for like actual knowledge or the actual technological know-how, but the concepts of that.
Yeah, what it does.
Hey Mark,
know your tool.
I'm kind of wondering what did you learn from
her?
From classical flute playing?
I was about to.
No, from her, yeah, basically from her way of working.
Well,
he can play amazingly.
We played flute classically 2 years after that.
There was, I think we divided the day into. Well, there was more focus. There was a larger focus on the electronic part. It was definitely like 30% time of the day of a work period spent on also me understanding what kind of sounds the flute can make, and I was asking her things like, can you also do a jump from blah to there, and then is that possible? Can you do glissando from this to that? What if you overload a little? So I was asking her stuff like that as well. and she was also telling me stuff like that. So
I'm kind of-
quite a bit of time.
Kind of wondering, because this was a collaboration between you and her. Was there a difference in role? Like, was one of you the composer and the other one performing it, or was it really collaborative, or what was the?
I think.
Who wrote the piece?
Well, I think I proposed the larger structure of the piece, and she had a really clear opinion about what those pieces should be and in what way they should. So I was like, okay, we're going to have 5 acts, something like that, and she had a really clear vision on what those portraying the concepts and stuff like that. So she
That sounds
this
like
is a
a-
bit darker. This is a bit. She knew that very well.
It sounds like a really like a collaborative process.
Yeah.
In that sense. Okay.
This was a really nice experience for me. It was only a bit frustrating for me at first because I had never met someone who knew almost nothing about electronic music. And for me, that was really eye-opening. Like, okay, you have to start here.
But I think that would be inherent in if you start collaborating with anybody with any discipline that you have never encountered. You have this period of tension where you don't understand each other, and that makes it all more harder.
In a more commercial sense, like how do you communicate? You just say to your clients as a freelancer when you have really.
Experienced sound designer.
Yeah. No, but I think that's an important
But
thing.
then you don't have to show the process, you only have to show the product.
No, I can't show the process.
But look, I'm talking about creative clients, like creative clients that are dependent on your part of the creative process. So, if you're,
Well, when money comes into play,
Then I go away.
no, really, honestly, I sometimes mystify what I do deliberately, and I choose not to. I choose to take the opposite approach of collaborative creative process.
Yes, tell me what to do.
No, I actually. Alright, this might be coming on the record, but I sometimes downright lie about my process.
Yeah,
That's what happens.
but
I work with orchestras.
No.
I needed 10 hours to do that, you know? So,
Those lies exist.
yeah.
that's not what I exactly meant.
No, but wait, I want to because what exactly did you lie about? I missed it because there was stuff happening over there, and I'm kind of focusing on
Everything.
I'll lie about, for instance, the amount of work that is required to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
a certain
okay.
job done.
So you say like, oh, you need to denoise this bit. Oh, that's really a lot of work. It's going to cost you.
Well, a part of that lie is
10 years to learn how to do this.
a part of that is like I usually have like 10 projects running at the same time, and I cannot always plan my time. Like when I get an assignment, I do not automatically am able to work on that specific thing right away. So I might have to wait 3 days before I can actually start even doing that.
Yeah, but that's not what I necessarily meant. What I meant was more about like, say, it's still commercial, like client-based sort of thing, but you're working with another creative, which you have to collaborate. But it's just commercial. It's not just for your artistic reasons, not purely artistic reasons. It's actually a
But for me, as soon as money comes into play, and it's something I do as for money, I only care about the end product, and I do not care about the process of getting there at all.
Okay,
So
just
just exercise your craft
Yeah.
for money.
Okay, but what I'm interested in is not necessarily that approach. Actually, I'm more interested in how do you communicate the process of your work to the client. Like how do you, like if I have to work with okay, let's put it from right. If I have to work with a game designer, how I have to work with the coder. We are both focused on the product because game at the end of the day is an experience product, I would say. But I have to know how the coder works, how to get the space for him and for myself I mean, I have to understand how his mind works, what he needs, so that I deliver
but
on time, and to ask the time that I need to do my stuff.
Yeah, but-
There are dependencies.
But that kind of interaction is for me exactly the same, whether it is like for money or not for money, like commercial or creative.
No, I think it's more based on assignment because normally you would like try to get the most out of people. If you do
It sounds more like your 24-hour project.
Yeah.
I think
you put people together.
Yeah.
I mean, the difference when it comes to that, it's more like I kind of try to indicate like the moments I really like contribute artistically to it. I also want the artistic credit. And not just getting paid for it. Be done with it. Then I just want my name in the bill too. And yeah, as far as communicating, I mean, it is quite important to communicate like how the thing that I mean, I did one project which was kind of a work for hire project, where it's like a 3D, like 360-degree projection, actually in a game engine by a group called Workspace Unlimited. They're a Belgian duo based in Montreal. And they needed a sound, like a spatial sound engine for that. It was kind of a tight deadline, so they came to me like 1 month before the big opening. So at first it started, I was just coding like that sound engine, but then they also needed a composition for it. So
But that's not really collaborative, but that's more you're working for hire and you get more and more requests.
But I mean, then as we were making the composition, or as I was making the composition, also in discussion with them for what they wanted the piece to feel like. And then, I mean, I did a couple of things which were really based on sort of the interaction and feedback loops with layers of sound building up. So there were like points where it was like, oh, can we do that, these things like differently? And I was like, no, because it is this feedback loop that has to build up these sound layers, just like they had some visual things going on, which were doing a similar thing with like webcams, grabbing images from space, which were projected then again in this 3D game environment. So it was quite important, like while working on composition, to explain like, okay, this is how this actually works.
And I kind of agree with that. I mean, there are projects that we're completely closed box and you just deliver the product comes. They only care about that, so they don't want to know about anything else. But I think there are situations which are commercial or delivered money world, let's just put it that way. But it is also creative, and you want your creative process to be visible and to get credit for it, and then you have to communicate your whatever, or 20%, or maybe it's 5%.
How does that work in your day job?
How does that work? I'm learning that actually right now.
Do they listen to each other, game designers and programmers, or do they just say, look, we really do need these sounds?
Only because I'm a junior, and sometimes like.
This is the dance group that was rehearsing.
Human being.
I'm a sound designer, but I'm a junior sound designer, so I'm also learning the whole stuff. And in this such a big scale, it's a really different experience. So I can't give too much detail all because of all the NDA stuff, but I can just say this. I cannot speak probably for other big companies, or maybe you can.
Well, but if you tell
I'll
how your
tell-
process goes, then I can say what my observations are of the sound designer working there.
Well, I think our department is pretty involved
you
with
work
what's
together?
going on. No.
Oh.
Not at all.
But like there are different phases. Obviously, all departments are interdependent on each other. And if the producer of the say audio department, so to say, knows the dependencies and how, say, a certain decision from art or code affects our sound, they get to change things, or they get to push things back or push them further in time. But we are working really tight schedule, like you talked about sprints. We're working with sprints, so we have sprints, and sprints are dedicated to, could be anything. It could be a level, it could be multiple level reviews. It depends on what stage a level is, etc., etc. But I think like for our department, I can say I've come to learn that we are one of the only departments that needs to know a little bit of every department, because we are so dependent on everything.
Yeah. Is that really not the case for all the other?
Apparently not. Some of the cinematics sometimes don't know anything about our processes. And then it kind of can be clashing. So then there should be someone who's leveraging this understanding and awareness in other departments as well, because when you come to them with a certain request, it doesn't make sense to them sometimes. Then big companies probably tackle this issue with really capable producers or managers of dedicated to certain departments probably. But that's why I said if you put it to a smaller scale, I think it's important to communicate what your dependencies, how their decisions affect you, etc. So it's at the end of the day, it's all for the better of the product, right? And end results. But the process affects the end results. So all these things have to be parallel. That's what I've learned, that as an audio person, that I have to understand a bit of everything. And I don't know half the shit, right? Maybe more than half the shit. I'm still learning. But yeah, that was interesting to see that some departments just don't have to seemingly, but I think they would benefit as well.
But you get a sort of feeling of the whole process. I worked as a environmental graphic designer in a design company for exhibitions, like large exhibitions. And we had like spatial design, multimedia design, interactive design, then you got like the environmental design, the managers, you got like 6 or 7 departments. And every time a project went wrong was when nobody just sat down in the beginning and just shared ideas. And then it was the task of the manager to just close off certain departments and at a certain time, like okay, now you're moving to this, you move to that. It doesn't need to be that everybody has to work all the way, but I think it's for us back then, it was very nice to have sort of all your ideas in it, and somebody who would just scribble and mix it, and you still have one feeling that you will be part of everything in a certain way. You see the things really fast when your ideas are good or not that good for the project, so you can switch them off at a very early age, and at the last, like I said, we should have done it like this, you know. And so I think it's quite interesting to start with everybody, and just maybe see how management process goes.
If I can get back to the subject I started on. About the process, I worked as a graphic designer. I really don't believe that your boss cares about the way how you get there. You know,
about the process.
He just wants you to have that on at 5 o'clock on Wednesday on his desk.
Yeah.
And I think that's the whole difference between non-profit and profit, if I can put it like that. But yeah.
I don't know. I think there's a yeah. I definitely. I think some people treat you like you're just basically like some people treat freelancers or workers or people who do creative services as creative sex slaves. So they just benefit from them and they just throw them away.
One night stand.
Yeah, exactly. That's what somebody actually told me. Like freelancing is like being a whore.
That was sort of what I was referring to.
But it's not always like that.
But those kinds of assignments, then like when the question is, can you make sound design for this 10-second thing, and then it's really like, okay, when do you need it? Then it's gonna be this and this much, and you're not gonna see an inch of my process because that's mine.
Yeah,
that's what you're paying for.
Obviously, but that's one side of things, and I don't think that's necessarily very interesting, because that's like really nasty
Yeah.
part of this business, I would say.
Yeah, but it's, as soon as like one other creative gets into there, you can't get away with that because you need to communicate. Like,
Exactly.
okay, there's a reason why I can't deliver this
I
before.
think this is a bit, when it's someone creative or something like that, if I do sound design or music for something which is for a big company, for example, like like a company film.
Say copying.
Shell.
Shell.
Yeah, a company film for Shell, something like that. There's most of the time there's a creative also behind making that movie.
Yeah, but the movie's usually finished by the time that you were asked to do that thing. So that creative process is already stopped.
Yeah.
And then you
okay, so the product is not. I don't really own the visual part of the product at all.
but I think that's really like a different firm, a different way of working with multiple disciplines. Is there's this one thing that you're all thrown in at the start and you have to figure it out as you go. And the other one is that there's this one like mastermind behind it who first picks, okay, I want this film crew to work with this director and these actors first. That's done. Okay, now I want this sound designer and this composer to work with this footage. Then that's done, and now now we work with this publisher and this.
It's less research based.
Yeah, and the process of working in that environment is completely different. And I'm for my personal experience, it's when you're all thrown in together, you really sort of benefit from learning the learning process that happens from seeing how other disciplines work and how you can respond to that.
Of course,
and
these are.
And then you sort of get that like the sum is greater than the parts thing going. And when you get this one mastermind who picks this crew, this crew, this crew, you just get the parts, and they get together, and sometimes it could result in some really cool film. But the really cool film is the parts.
That's
I don't really care for being a prostitute if I can pay very well.
Usually also with big groups, there has to be a hierarchy, if not everything kind of.
There's been, I'll maybe backpedal a little.
More than 20 people, you can't
The
really.
thing is, if you have an orchestra,
If you're what?
if you have an orchestra, you have to have the director.
Not really, not
Exactly.
always.
You have to have the conductor to keep everything together. But then the whole orchestra is acting like one organism, like one person, so to speak.
They're like one sort of discussion.
Yeah, they're like one.
That's a whole different thing, I would say.
But yeah, then you have to look at it as one.
Yeah.
But if you can come back to what Jai says, I think what he's being a whore is, for me, more about designing.
I regret
And if
saying
you
that.
The
prostitutes, call them prostitutes.
I mean,
I got it from a
if you're in such a
director,
situation, I can see it more as designing, and if you're more in the collaboration field, then it's more artistic.
Creating.
Artistic and research-based. Research.
Oh yeah, it's more like art. I mean, that's the difference between design and art.
Yeah, but
No, I don't necessarily agree at all. Design for me.
I say.
design can be in the same way very research based and
Yeah.
artistic. It depends, and it's like
More.
what do you use it for and how
Yeah.
do you approach your project? What is the end?
Yeah.
It's like I said, like you have an applied outcome that you want it to be. This can be sold. Then you need more like a mastermind kind of thing. But if you want to sell it with an artistic value, or you want to sell it with a different strategy that has to be redefined again, then you go into research and innovation.
But that's
more-
Something directed
That's
can
like
be
what a
art work
director
as well.
does.
Sorry.
Something directed with one mastermind can be.
That's how operas are made.
What?
That's how operas are made.
That's
That's
how.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's still amazing art pieces with a lot of artistic value.
What I wanted to say was that design and designing something can also be a very artistic process.
The main, what I can only say, and I think probably most of people agree, it's kind of generalization, but it works. Design is so much more about use cues and usability or the accessibility or communicating a certain kind of function in a way. And art doesn't necessarily follow those rules. You don't necessarily have to communicate certain clear use for something. And design can benefit obviously from artistic choices, and art can benefit from quite a lot of design choices, but they are essentially different in practice.
But the top-down hierarchy.
Exactly, pretty much like that, in a way.
But either the top-down hierarchy or the collaborative hierarchy can happen both in design and in art. So it's, I don't think it's the difference between design or art that's important here. It's more about, do you want to create an environment in which everybody can sort of learn from each other, or do you want to create an environment in which you want to most efficiently use the talents of the people that are there, and skip away of all the and I mean, you can create an environment where nobody cares about what each individual artist learns from the other discipline. I mean, who cares? We just want this really cool thing done in 2 weeks. But you can also say, okay, let's create this space in which everybody who's involved can learn from each other and grow as a whole and see where that ends up.
I still think the size of the group has a very big
definitely.
I mean, with big groups, you can't work with no hierarchy. You need
exactly.
Exactly. I see it happening, for instance, what I see in design companies, for instance, they start small, they were very innovative, and then they get big clients.
But then stuff kind of, either there's someone that's gonna lead, or it's gonna
I think
divide in different groups that work together.
It doesn't even have to be about this design, art, whatever. We were just like, we went to Ghent for soundings, presentation stuff, and from there, and I mean, it was already in progress, we were thinking about stuff, but like, the sound is going to get bigger, hopefully, but it cannot be stay like everyone is going to be at the same level of acting. It's just impossible.
It can't. It will
That's
never
a
work.
utopia. So you have to be just like really open about your, in our case,
I'm
very
reading
open
now-
about your
I'm
process,
reading-
etc.
I'm reading now about evolutionary theories, and it's known since
Yeah, I'm
the
not
beginning
gonna-
of dawn.
Okay,
that-
I'm not going to base it on...
No, but it's very interesting because he says there that big groups need hierarchy at a certain point of a group. When groups of people go above 50 people, I think he says, you need a leader. You need someone. You need a different hierarchy. If not, they're gonna become two groups of 50. That happens in monkeys.
I think that.
By the way.
I think that goes for both ways, for as well as non-profit as designing.
Definitely.
But what you were saying about the beer can, you need to sell a beer can, and that's a whole other thing because you're making a product for the consumer. For the consumer, and you're not doing it to benefit from yourself, you know. And I think that's a huge difference. And because what I said earlier, you're really trying in a non-profit sector, you're really trying to find out what you can do together, you know.
I don't think it's necessarily about being non-profit. A non-profit organization or whatever can have a target group that they want to sell something. An idea, a project. I think I can be a heated discussion person on this one. Like, if you want to communicate an idea, and whether it's money or whatever you're getting in terms of profit, you need to be clear of what you're communicating. And in that sense, you have to benefit from design.
But without money, you can get together and think, you can do that, you're really good at that, and I'm really good at this. What are you going to do with that together, you know, in a mix? And
but I do think
the beer still needs to taste.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
but at the end, no, but because that's, you don't need to sell anything.
Yeah,
you know.
But that's the difference. Like, if it's for non-profit, then it's then it can feel off. You know, then it can feel different. But if you're
creating something for a consumer which has expectations, then you're taking big risks.
Yeah, but I think we agree that there's a difference between paid stuff just needs to
Well, I think the difference in paid stuff is more about time, because whenever like you're profit oriented, time is money, and you want to decrease the time you put into something as much as possible, because you have to pay people for it.
And there's always short term.
Yeah, but if there's purely a creative process, you can
There's
just
always short term.
yeah, there's still showtime, but you can sort of stretch out that period and invest more time into getting to know each other and stuff like that. That like when you're really like, okay, we want to do this in the shortest amount of time possible. If two divisions don't really need to meet, and that's like specifically needed to get a certain task done, then skip it because we need to get moving.
I want to throw something out there because I heard the story about hierarchies and it sounds like they're mostly fixed. And
I'm sorry.
No, true, but there does seem to be this clear distinction that there's one creative vision and there's people beneath that start implementing that for the entire special project. I know of a company called Valve Software who make really good games. They made the Half-Life series. Some people are thoroughly familiar with that. They're really big. They're this 300-person plus company that produces games. They've been doing this for a while. They have a hierarchy which is essentially flat. Everybody has the same position. Nobody is the leader. Perhaps the owner has a bit more influence than the other people around him. The nice thing there is if you start working there, if you're hired, they give you a desk and they say, go figure out what you want to do. And there's projects going on there, and you can either just join in there or you can start your own. It's do what you feel you think is valuable for this company. So it's still about producing something of value for the consumer, but it's about you figuring out what that is and what you can do to aid in that. Nobody
How did they
tells
get
you
to
what
that
to do.
point?
Yeah, I'm gonna get a
They
3-hour
founded
coffee
the
break.
company with that principle. They
Yeah.
started right from the start.
That way
for me.
sounds a bit like sort of a matrix structure where you
But-
have certain cells and everybody joins in a project and there's one guy.
It's
You know,
a fluid structure. It's self-organized.
The weird thing about it is that there is actually inherent hierarchy in the process of hiring someone. And you cannot just do that from scratch with a lot of people coming.
Did anyone hire a person?
No, but they know that.
Yeah, I think
So you
that's
need to
kind
work
of,
on that.
that's kind of like.
Well,
Correct?
in the case of this company, everybody can hire. Everybody, from the moment they are hired, they can.
From the
participate
moment
in
they
the
are
hiring
hired, though,
process.
like, there's an initial selection of trust,
Yeah,
probably, that
there
we
is
have
a
to
level of
base.
self-selection.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering, like you're explaining this, and all the while I'm waiting, like, where's the catch? Because
Yeah. I mean, I'm a worker.
when are they going to? Is this running well?
This is
Actually, it's running
extremely
pretty well.
Yeah. Okay. And like.
That's pretty well.
Which is what I know Hollywood.
They're all super rich also.
Yeah. Everybody has
Very
big ass hats.
No, but it's like you said, you know,
It feels like the exception to the rule, though.
It
well,
works.
It's interesting, but Pinar said that you might start with a sort of hierarchical structure, and then this structure works out this model, and then
And then from an
works on it, and it suddenly starts working. Maybe you don't need that much control.
No.
That is what they say hello.
But in the beginning, they probably were very smart. They didn't just lay out random
No.
people. They didn't
Yeah.
just start with random people. I think they start with like certain quality of it. You cannot. I don't think.
Well, that's kind of thing. It's
like a
If
matrix.
you want to work at Valve, then you need to be pretty well-rounded.
Yeah.
A lot of different disciplines.
They have this lined out. The hiring qualities that they look for is essentially a specification of a good multidisciplinary team member.
Yeah.
Somebody who is not necessarily the best at their craft, but who can get into the mindset of others and communicate well and organically organize themselves into that structure, which is very different.
Which is,
So everyone
quite
can fire
often
everyone as well.
in many bigger companies where they go for specialized,
Yes.
very
They
focused
go
people.
essentially for
But they,
generalists.
they do some, it's like, the interesting thing is that they have desks which have wheels.
Yes.
It's really interesting.
Okay.
So you get a desk, but you can just move over and
That's
anywhere.
neat.
So you can work there, but you're not tied to it.
You're literally staff
So
organizing.
you're literally moving from place to place. But
I didn't know that.
I can sort of imagine that these kinds of processes, like how big is the group? Like 300?
300 people minimum.
Right. Well, 300 people. I can imagine this working really well for well over 200 of them. But there are bound to be some like divisions there, some people there that are really like, okay, how do
there
I?
needs to be some kind of creative control. I don't believe that because their products are so in line
Yeah.
with each other.
Yeah, because
they have this
Martijn is
quality.
suggesting that there isn't. So
I'm suggesting that that level of control arises organically. Somebody feels. It's emergent. No, yeah, it is emergent. Somebody feels very strongly about a specific project.
But that word, that ties to ownership, giving these people that they own it, that is such a hard thing for most people. I mean, really. People just don't own shit. They just sometimes are just so lazy to own something.
So they don't want it?
I don't know what the trick there. I'm not an expert. I haven't gotten to that part yet. But to find that answer, I don't know how they managed it. But I feel like probably that's what they figured out. Somehow giving the sense that that they matter. That these individuals actually matter is part of a bigger thing. I mean, that's such a strong feeling, and most companies just don't manage to carry
To be
it.
fair, they also hire for specifically that property. They're looking for people who have done their own personal projects and taken complete control of
So it's
that.
a personality, actually, character
Yes,
they're hiring.
yes.
So yeah,
It's
the
not
point
just
of
skill.
control is the moment they ensure that this person already has some quality.
Exactly, that's
He is
the point.
invested in whatever passionate thing he
And
does.
also it's
So
like
by the-
they are all, it's
Yeah.
not like they're all equal compared to some other kind of, I mean, there's always some kind of control. Like what you
So
said
by
about
the time in the interview, the interviewee is hiring the other guy, then it's like, okay, you're hired.
You're hired. Okay, you're fired.
No, but I
So
mean,
why do you
I
work
can
here?
imagine, I can imagine this works really well for experimenting, but from going from experiment to product, I can't see that happening in such a situation.
Well, when they get towards a solid concept and they say, oh, hey, this is a game, oh, hey, this is a service we can launch, then the hierarchy gets
a bit more strict, yeah, obviously.
as it naturally would.
But then,
I
yeah,
heard
this
even
is
the guy from
But then that's-
had the same.
person.
Probably they
Oh,
have
let's-
The hierarchy is only there to serve
Hold on, let's
This is no longer there, it dissolves.
hold on, let's keep the discussion. We're like 5 discussions at the same time,
Sorry.
which isn't followable for our internet viewers. I just noticed that Sherry
Sorry.
entered.
Also,
And we have to wrap it up.
let's
Yeah.
try and wrap things up a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little.
A little
Oh,
bit,
yeah,
let's
Pearl.
sort it out.
So maybe Sherry can give us the last word. She heard all of it.
I feel stupid that I wasn't here. I actually was here, but I wasn't here. I was invited for something else that was going on upstairs, so I.
I am much more interesting.
Very interesting about the new festival and everything. So it was very nice. But so you're talking about multidisciplinary collaborations, correct?
Yes.
I did a research on that. So that's why I feel stupid that I'm not here. But maybe good because I don't know what you guys talked about. Well, I really wanted to be here tonight, but I choices.
You get the last word, so.
I don't know what to say. I don't know. I can promote myself. Okay, so I can tell you what I researched and the outcomes in a nutshell. I researched how you set up interdisciplinary collaborations and what you have to take into account when you lead such a process. I did a master in arts management, I just finished that, and I did a research, a case study in Berlin at an organization called MADE, and they set up interdisciplinary collaborations for over 2 years now. And what they do is they always try to connect different disciplines, try to create a clash between, it doesn't have to be an artist and another artist or different artist discipline, but it can be anything. And something that I found out just recently is that I don't really see a difference between, no, I should say differently. Everyone's creative. So there's not a distinct difference for me for, like, for instance, creatives as artists and scientists. Everyone has their own type of creativity, and we should just see it as one big whole, but everyone has their own discipline and expertise. That if you bring it together, something really cool can happen. Or what?
Yeah, just creating a specialty idea.
Yeah, okay. And the outcomes of my research were I created a management product. That's what the HKU asked me to do. And in short, that means creating something practical out of the outcomes of my research that can be used in the Werkveld. And sorry, I just love those. So what actually just happened on the go was that while I was interviewing all these people I made, they kept saying the same words in the interviews. They kept mentioning the same words without me saying anything about that, not placing the words in their mouths. And I just noticed 12 words kept coming back. It's a lot, though, I realize now, and I want to downsize that. So I created 12 elements that you can take into account when you lead such a process and want to set up an interdisciplinary collaboration. I don't know those 12 words by memory, but
Some?
I can try.
Some research.
I can try. It's, I don't think it makes sense to make 12, but that's one of the core findings of my research is that the process should be seen as the middle point. If you only focus on the outcomes of your collaboration or of your project, that's not what it's about. It's about learning from each other. And if I believe, and this is also words from one of the founders of MADE, if you see the process as the middle point, then the outcomes will be okay. It'll be fine. But if you always be aware of that process, everyone in the entire team is aware of that process, and me as a leader can help that. That's what my school taught me is that sometimes you do need someone to remind you of those things. Then the outcomes can be great, I believe. And I was interviewed, so I'm going to promote myself, by Unst, that's the HKU magazine, and it's going to come out next January. I'm excited. And about my research, and because I also worked interdisciplinary in my research, I worked with graphic designers, and we created something really cool. It's too complex to explain right now. It shouldn't be actually, but I have to show you it's something practical. It's the management product. From the 12 elements, they made a poster, and that poster, everything in the poster, you can translate back to those 12 elements and to the core findings of the research. And I am Miss Moustache. Yes, I have business cards and stickers. So Miss Moustache, you guys are all from different disciplines. Doesn't really matter. Anyway,
all from
Miss Moustache wants to be a connector in a way. I want to set up those kinds of projects, teams, and of course, it's nice if you can earn some money with that. So I'm now trying to, because that's important. You can't really say it's not. So why not? I want to be a matchmaker in bringing together different disciplines in a project team. And I want to sell that project team to a business that is looking for a solution to a problem they have. So you can look at it from that side. I can just randomly go to someone, hey, how about using my people, whatever, and finding a solution to your problem that I see. But on the other side, I want businesses to find me if they're looking for a solution to a problem they have within their organization. That could be anything. Creating a new product, looking for a solution to something within their organizational structure. I believe that if you bring different creatives together, you can always come with a solution that you've never thought of if you hadn't involved creatives in the broad sense of the word. Is that, you could say that in English? Broad sense of the word. Is that clear?
Yeah.
No, because I'm really trying to do this, and I notice it's sometimes super vague, and then people are like, so what the hell is in Dutch? And I don't.
We just had 3 hours of class.
Yeah.
We warmed up.
We came prepared.
I didn't get it, what?
We were talking about it for the past 3 hours, that's why.
That's why I also talk a lot just now, so that's why. But I have business cards.
Where do you find your projects or thesis, or is there some where you find your ingredients?
Okay, well, I have a blog. It's called that I had kept when I was in Berlin. It's called sointerdisciplinary.wordpress.com. but I have to say that it's not updated since September or something, end of September. That's my fault, and I got a good feedback on that from someone just recently saying, so what were the outcomes of the research? It doesn't even say it there. So that's, yeah. But I'm gonna update that. But I have more information about what I want to do with this moustache on my website. ShariKlein.com. But I have to.
She totally rehearsed this.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Just drop in.
Okay, yes, I will. Oh,
Guys, if the conclusion part is done, and if you don't have anything else to say, I would like to wrap this meeting up because we're right and we're basically buying Jonathan's time. Also train.
And they're trains, you guys.
Yeah, they're trains. So, thanks. First, before making a list, I want to thank everyone for joining us for our 10th. Thank you.
Please pop the other one as well.
And I want to thank Jonathan for letting us use us.
Can I close this?
Yes, you can close it.
Take it away.
Alright, people, if you want to see the booze, you should come for next time.